Debt-Free TV, in association with getoutofdebtfree.org.
So, interestingly, I mean, I sometimes wonder what to call this talk that I've given a few times now, and I loosely base it on water consciousness, and it's based around an understanding that I've come to through gathering waters for many years. Sorry, I'm finding it difficult having a conversation. So basically, about 16 years ago, I became clairaudient whilst living in a teepee community in Spain, and I used to bathe in a pool of water that came from a spring in a place called Beneficio, and I used to sit there in the sun in the morning, you know, and I used to think of it like Eden, and one day I was sat there and I was stoned with grass grown in the valley. And there I was, you know, enjoying my life, just kind of, you know, basically a long-haired hippie, kind of just hanging out in the sun in the south of Spain. I was like, my little bit of heaven. And as I listened to the trickle of the water, I started to commune with the spirit of the spring. And I actually was able to, my brain kind of converted like one of those Babel fishes out of Red Dwarf. The trickle of the water turned into a voice. And it started talking to me, and it was like, oh my God, you know. And that was quite a revelation that I was able to tap into that kind of understanding. And basically, this spring told me to go off and collect water from other springs and bring it back to itself. And that process started there. And now I've got water in this bottle that's connected to more than 10,000 sources around the world. All the seas on the planet. You know, all the great glaciers, most of the major rivers. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it wasn't me. I haven't been zooming around the world, you know. Exactly. So I'm quite a good networker somehow. And so I've networked it out. I've given it out to people. I've set up lots of water carriers. But I've also, you know, got gifts. Like at one Glastonbury festival, a guy turned up and he had 1,008 springs of India, all gathered together for some big Baba's birthday, right? And that was like my prize. You know, we were talking about abundance and you getting things that aren't money. I'd done all this kind of work for the greater good, if you like, you know, on my path of service and all that. And yeah, to get given 1,008 springs of India was, you know, was a big step forwards, because I was up to about 800 and something at the time. And so boom, it went more than double. And then Starhawk, a famous shaman in America, she was also into it. She'd gathered all the seas on the planet and another 3,500, right? Boom, that went in the pot, and so suddenly, it's like, oh my God. And so then, obviously, as you can imagine, over 16 years, I've wondered, what on earth is it all about? It's not like I've got 10,000 little bottles. It works on homeopathy. And the idea and the reason for it happening is to, or for me, has been to raise my awareness of the fact that there's only one drop of water on the planet, right? Just getting that concept into us. There's one drop. The quantity of water cells is exactly the same as when it arrived. It's like a gift. Yeah? Without water, we'd be a dry rock. It shaped the face of all the valleys, all the mountains. You know, obviously, everything that lives is water-based. And interestingly, again, what this weird and wonderful stuff has taught me is that actually water is literally love in action. Now the reason for that is actually there's two gases, right? You've got hydrogen over here, you've got oxygen over there. They naturally want to be gas. Now they choose to come together and create water. You burn it, it turns into a gas, it comes back together as water again. You can't destroy it. It is, and it literally behaves unlike anything else on the planet. When it freezes, it floats. If it didn't float when it froze, the planet would be covered in ice. You know, if it didn't turn back into water when it turned into a gas, we wouldn't have any clouds. You know, so literally it is the engine of the natural world. And as love in action, it's the perfect solution. You know, when we say all you need is love and love is the answer and all of that, well, we're made of it, you know. So the concept that comes out of all of this is, and it's interesting to put it into perspective with some of the things that Bruce was saying, is that actually the very fabric of the natural world is love in action, right? We can agree on that, right? And that, so as such, water being that fabric is the animator of our creativity. So the nature being that is everything living on the planet is basically a conscious being. I work with kind of dragon energies, you know, there's all sorts of different dragons, but I see dragons as like a totality. If you put all the elements together and everything upon the earth, some call it Gaia, and I see Gaia as a dragon. Right? I see Gaia as a kind of a form that is everything all put together as one thing. So, I mean, it's interesting that here we are in the age of Aquarius, and I don't know, you see the symbol of the age of Aquarius, it's a man pouring water, right? And it's interesting that it's a man pouring water, because water is actually quite a feminine thing, the feminine being all that is, and the masculine being the effect upon all that is. That's how I see it anyway. And the pouring of the water is about receiving understanding, and it kind of links into the golden age and to the shift and everything that's coming about, is that we are about to remember the truth of reality, and we are about to evolve to the point where we each become like a sun. So we shine light and love and energy out in all directions, and when everybody does that together, that in itself also raises the vibration. And that's what we get when we come to events like this, where we actually get the sense you can be exactly what you can wear, what you like, you can dance like nobody's watching, nobody minds how you are or what you do. And so that sense of freedom is like a flower opening to the sun, and that opening process is literally the reflective energy of water being charged up. And so again, you know, it's funny old stuff, you know, clear, tasteless, so common. I mean, it's pouring down around us, you know, it's in our bodies, it's in the atmosphere that we're breathing. You know, most of the water's surface is, the Earth's surface is covered in it, and yet somehow our relationship to it is a peculiar one, because almost everybody here is dehydrated. And when you think that you're made of water, and yet we don't drink enough, or we have Coca-Cola, or beer, and you think, oh, well, that's wet, it's wet, cup of coffee, that will do. But you wouldn't wash in Coca-Cola, would you? Well, you might, but you'd be a bit sticky, and you might only do it once. So it's you know, one of the messages that I try and take out for people after this talk is to try and drink more water. And the best time to drink water, if you want to really improve the health of your body and your energy levels, drink as much water as you can first thing in the morning before consuming anything else. And if you do that for 28 days, after 28 days your body thinks you're going to do it forever. It's like a programming thing. You know, if you brush your teeth after 28 days, some part of you thinks you're going to do it forever. And the reason that's important is that after 28 days, all night when you're sleeping, your body will start emptying the shelves of shit inside your body and start processing it and putting it into the liver, knowing that it's going to get water in the morning, not a coffee and a cigarette. Right? So when you have that, you wake up, everybody wakes up, you go for a wee, right? Now obviously that's full of a lot of stuff that you've been needing to get rid of in your body. Now, if you can get into the habit of having a good pint of water, You know, and it is easy to get it down actually. And you say to yourself when you're drinking it, "Oh, I'm so good," you know. "Oh, I love myself, right? I'm so good. I've remembered to do it again. Here I am. I'm drinking water, not a coffee." If you do that, and I'll explain why in a minute. When you do that and you drink it, your body just drinks it up like nectar, and your second wee is as full of stuff as the first one. And there's nothing wrong with toxins. The world's full of toxins, right? But you've just got to keep them moving. You know, you can take anything through your body as long as you keep it moving and you keep flushing it out. So that's just a little tip. Drink a good pint of water, or even have one next to your bed at night. You know, you wake up halfway through the night, you're thirsty, get some bloody water down your neck. You know, it's so good for you.
One thing is like boiled water, warm water seems to be much more hydrating and healthy than just cold water. And the other thing is that if you leave a glass of water next to your bed, it can attract a lot of negative energy, and you should really drink it next to your bed.
Right, okay, well there's a couple of things there. So body temperature water is the most easy to absorb, because otherwise your body needs to warm it up before it wants to take it through the cell membrane into your blood system. So that's why if you drink a lot of cold water, you can feel it like land and swash about in your stomach, and that's because it's being warmed up like a kettle. So warm water is best, but it's not always tasty, warm water, but I mean it is good for you. Lemon water is even better because it's alkaline, and most of us have got an acid diet. Well, okay, it's interesting. So, freshly squeezed juice is amazing because you've got sun energy infused into water that's turned into a fruit. A lot of juices and things we create are from, or we drink, is from concentrate. So they take a big vat of orange juice and they evaporate by heating loads of the liquid until they've got a sludge, and then they ship the sludge and then they put the water back in it. Well, that's defeating the object really, because you haven't got all the phytonutrients.
Just one more question on this. Can you add lemon to all of your water that you drink, or is it worth drinking just pure water as well?
Well, the word all, like it's my understanding, and all this stuff that I'm saying, like, it's just my understanding. So I'm just sharing some of the insights that I've got over the years of kind of just being into water and drinking it and figuring it out. But my understanding is you should never always do anything. If you take vitamin pills, take them 6 days out of 7. If you put lemon in your water, sometimes don't put lemon in your water. You know, I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever done a litmus test of your pee to see whether it's acid or not, but most, you know, like lots of the things that we are acid forming, and that causes arthritis, rheumatism, lots of degenerative diseases. It makes you go cuckoo when you're old. You know, it's like, so acid just kind of literally rots everything out. It breaks things down. It makes you age faster. So obviously drinking water is a neutral pH, so that helps that process. And obviously lemon, as you say, you know, it is alkaline, even though you'd think it was acid, but it forms as alkaline in your body, so it just helps to balance that. But that isn't. The energy of water was an interesting one that you brought up, so. And that's that energy is like a battery, right? This is a good way of thinking about it. But it can hold an unending amount of it. There is no limit to the amount of energy you can fix in water. And so one of the practices that I've done in the past, and I have varying degrees, you know what it's like, you get really into it, and then you kind of get a bit bored and you go off and you forget about it and then you come back to it again. You know, so it's funny to watch those cycles. But the positive energy thing is that everything in the world is affected by the way we think about it. So, again, it relates to all these other practices and things, some of the stuff that Bruce was talking about, it's all down to intention. So, for instance, if I were to hold a glass of water and give it some energy in the form of Reiki, or just holding it, or charging it up, or meditating with it, the energy that I put into it, I can then use. And this is an interesting practice. So even better if you're doing your drink in the morning, if you get a chance to have a couple of minutes and you just sit there, quieten your mind, charge it up, imagine that you're holding a ball of light, you know, a golden ball of light, you've charged your water up. Now, something that I learned years ago was that you can then ask the energy that you've put in the water to have a specific desired effect. So it can be, oh, I feel like I'm going to need loads of patience today. Give me patience, right? So then you've programmed the water to give you what you need. If you need energy, if you need clarity, if you need cleaning, if you need focus, whatever it is, because you're putting it in, you can draw it back out again. And it's all about intention. So, yeah, I'm not sure about if you put a glass of water, it can gather negative energy, because I'm not aware of having big pools of negative energy around me, right? And I understand that geopathic stress, and if you've got a funny spot in your house, you probably wouldn't want to put water there, you know, the whole feng shui thing. But generally, if you're putting water out because you want to hydrate yourself, and you feel good about that, and you see it as a medicine, like something that's good for you, then it's good for you. And you know, if you do it in a neutral, non-thinking way, I think generally it's good for you anyway, because obviously water being love in action, remember, you know, but it is a gatherer of energy. So if in any doubt, you know, when you're drinking it, it's so good for you. This is what a lovely drop of water this is, you know, just enjoying the wetness of it. You know, when you're dry in the mouth, you just, oh, you know, the more you can get into it, the more you can get out of it. Yes?
I've been drinking a lot of spring water. I've been going collecting spring water for about a year. But people have been telling me recently that distilled water is the only thing that can adequately clear out toxins in the liver. What do you feel on that?
Okay, well, look, I mean, the use of language, right? So distilled water cleans better because it's not got the mineral content that spring water's got. The reason it's not good for us really to drink rainwater, because rainwater's quite clean of minerals, and too much distilled water, is because it actually leaches minerals and vitamins out of your body. Because water is supposed to have lots of stuff in it, right? It gathers everything it touches, it absorbs. So if a drop of water fell on the top of this pole, it rolled down the metal pole there, went round the plastic, down the glass, round the plastic, down the wire, down onto the carpet, some of all that stuff is in the water. Infinitesimal little tiny bits, right? That's why it's a bit weird, the number of chemicals and things in the body. There's, last count, I think it's 24,000 patented chemicals in the world, right? Most of them are inside everybody's body. Now that's a weird thing to think about, right? Everybody has got DDT in them, did you know that? Everybody. The whole planet has been polluted with DDT. There's nothing we can do about it because it's in the water system, and it doesn't flush it out. So that's why the drinking and the keeping it all moving, you know, because we're breathing it in, we're eating it with all the supermarket food. It's just wherever you go, like we're drawing in all these toxins, and your body, when it finds something new, it thinks, oh, that might be useful. I mean, we all do it, don't we? Oh, that looks useful. I'll just put that in my pocket. It does that with all the new chemicals that it finds, because it thinks, well, I might be able to make a bit of eyeball with that. You never know. If I'm missing one of those bits, I might be able to use that bit. And it stores it all up. And it actually puts it, when your body becomes full of toxins, it starts to store things inside cells because it's run out of room on the shelves, right? And that's when you start to get serious degenerative diseases, you know. So, yeah, do yourself a favour. Just, one, visualise it all coming out, you know. And a couple of practices that I do. One is that when I pee, every time I pee, I say to myself, I release and let go so that everything can flow and come together perfectly. Because I've got to let go in order to pee. I can't be holding on and pee because it don't come out. Well, it's not possible. So in that I release and let go, I'm doing the action of letting go, and I'm asking that it's all going to come together lovely. And funny enough, it all sorts itself out. And I mean, even when you think it's gone Pete on, it all turns out all right. You know, so life's rich tapestry. And the other thing is when I go to the toilet in the morning, another little one, right? I release and let go of anything that no longer serves me. And that can be energetic, it can be psychic, it's certainly physical. You know, and boom, out it comes. Job's a good one, and I get a sense of, God, I'm drinking water and I'm doing these things, that, okay, I'm taking in poisons, I've done my fair share of all sorts in my life, but I'm moving it on. I don't need it. Whatever I don't need, let it go, you know, whether it's external or internal. you know, in order to evolve, that all helps. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the funny thing about it is the heart is the king of our being. You know, the head thinks it rules, but actually, if your heart's not happy, then everything's unhappy, right? You know, if you've got a happy heart, then everything else falls into place. And in that note, I'd like everybody to close their eyes and have a little visualization. And it's an interesting one. And I got it in one of my meditations the other day. And that is to imagine the pineal gland that sits in the middle of the 4 lobes of your brain. Imagine it's the shape of a strawberry. It's not round, it's strawberry shaped, it's got a little dip in the top, and it's got a teardrop at the bottom. And it's not small pea sized, it's strawberry sized. And that's a big part of this coming phase of evolution in consciousness, that we are actually going to evolve to having a large pineal gland that excretes lots of serotonin and DMT in order for us to get a sense of unity. Now, if you can picture a white, strawberry-shaped pineal gland, and imagine nectar from the source of all creation pouring into the dip. You know, it can be a dribble, it can be a whoosh, and it's dripping out from the bottom of it and being collected in the chalice of your heart. And what that is that's a connection between the heart and your head, and the strawberry being like a 3D heart shape, to the chalice of your heart. Because unless your head's thinking love, your heart's not open. Yeah, we open our hearts with our head, with our consciousness, with our perspective of reality, with our relationship to ourselves and each other. And so it's a lovely visualization to just imagine your cup's filled up and it's overflowing, right? And it's just feeding the rest of your body with this nectar being drawn in and sent down from the universal source of all love and light. And then the other thing is just to actually visualize and feel your body, and just for a moment give thanks. It's the most amazing multi-dimensional supercomputer. It's can survive on almost anything. It has all the range of emotions and experiences, you know, and just for a moment giving thanks to that and the waters of the earth and the consciousness of nature. It's such an important thing to do occasionally, is just to give thanks, you know, to be grateful for what we are and for the opportunity to be present, to actually have the experience of being here within this third dimensional spacesuit we call a body. And just connect with your heart center again and just see how it feels, you know. It's okay to feel whatever it is feeling, but just kind of checking in with it occasionally is really good practice. Anyway, so moving on, water. So one thing that that I'd like to offer out in a minute is again, in one of my meditations, I was given the right to give this water out and to empower people's wishes and dreams and set some intention. And what happens is when I give one drop under the tongue, this, other than the fact that your auric field doubles in size immediately, and I've done it with a dowsing rod before, I don't think we've got any here, but literally you can measure someone's aura prior to having a drop, and then give them a drop and measure it afterwards, and it's normally about 1.5 meters bigger. And you get all the different balancing effects and all these kind of things. But what happens is, and what I'd like people to start thinking of, is that if you make a wish and you never tell anybody, it's between you and source consciousness, then all the movement of water on the planet will come to aid your wish. And obviously water is always moving, so that's quite an awesome force coming specifically to aid that which you wish for. And obviously better that it's for the greater good, you know. And be really careful what it is that you actually do wish for, because we've had all sorts of funny experiences. So anybody's welcome to that at the end of the chat. I'll go round and I'll dish it out. But have a consideration, because I've given it out quite a lot recently, and when I give it with trust, because obviously I understand it's awesomely powerful, and someone could wish for something terrible. And a bit like the power that Bruce was talking about earlier, is that it comes with great responsibility, you know. But actually, by trusting, I know that people will wish for the right thing. Does that make sense? So, you know, if I go around giving fear out, then God knows it would be a terrible manifestation. But by going and giving out the opportunity to wish for the right thing, each of us intrinsically knows what to ask for creation. Does that make sense? You know, so yeah. And the reason I give it out with trust is that actually trust is probably the most powerful weapon we've got in the world full of fear. You know, the more we can trust the divine plan in action, the more we are a part of that plan in action. You know, and that is actually the greatest challenge. You know, even though it logically seems that everything is going to be really difficult, just trusting that actually for us personally, it's going to be fine. And that actually most people on the planet are having a great day. You know, we kind of read the news about the few people that aren't, and actually there's 8 billion people out there. Most of them are making the most of it and having a great day. They've got a good missus, they're doing the thing, you know, they're eating nice food, they're experiencing the best they can, they're making the best of their day they can, you know. And, you know, we're some of the lucky few that found ourselves at Waveform Festival, and we're having a great day. Do you know what I mean? We've had I was going to say the sunny weekend, but it's raining now. But I mean, we've had a couple of sunny days, you know, it was like summer. Bloody hell. I don't know about you, but it's been not summer wherever I've been. It's been bloody the eternal spring. April showers in August. So, yeah, so another couple of useful tips. One is the effect that we have on water. Anybody read the Celestine Prophecy books and stuff like that, right? And they focus on flowers and they see its aura and they get this kind of to and fro. Well, that, when we appreciate the beauty of another, that being responds on an unseen level and feels good, even if they don't know that you've noticed them. So, and when you appreciate nature or an animal, you're giving it energy. And when you appreciate the earth and life itself, it's like nectar, you know, to that being. And again, that's why, in a way, festivals and this kind of environment, the energy that gets created and drawn down into the earth. I do all sorts of shamanic stuff at celebrations, and I work with seeing a vortex drawing the energy down into the centre of the earth. And so all this lovely energy we feel with each other, instead of it just like splashing about and kind of not really doing anything, it's drawn down like a nectar into the earth itself. And the most powerful healing tool for the planet and for the consciousness is positivity and our love for each other. You know, it is unbelievably powerful. It is incredible. It can move mountains. And yeah, so the key is definitely in acknowledging that love in action is the water that we're made of and all of nature, which is why we love to walk about in it, be in it, love each other. You know, when you feel compassion and love for someone else, you're empowering the thing that you are. Does that make sense? It's not an intangible, it's not, love isn't something you feel for your girlfriend or your, you know, or your partner. It's what's happening. We're in a vessel of love, you know, and we're like, I sometimes describe it as like, we're like fish, or some people are like fish in a fishbowl, and they think they're not made of water. And it doesn't matter how much you convince yourself you're dry, you're not. And when you wake up, it's like, oh, fuck no, I'm not dry, I'm wet. And there's no gap. We're in it. and we're all made of the same stuff, and it's love. Very strange. So I'm going to wrap up in a second. One little thing I did also want to do is colour. Blue is the colour of trust, hence that's why this bottle's in blue. But if you want to project, if you've got someone you're worried about, if you worry about the person you're worried about, you're not helping them. If your mum worries about you, I don't know about you, but I used to feel my mum worrying about you. Bloody hell, man, leave me alone. Because I'm really connected to my mum. She's my mum, right? So what I learned was that if I'm concerned for somebody else's well-being, the best thing I can do is see them in a bubble. And if I think they're worried, put them in a blue bubble. Trust. If I think they're out of sync, a green bubble, like emerald green, you know, that like mossy emerald green that you get at the bottom of a stream. And I have amazing results. It's unbelievable how good it works, especially if you've got an issue with someone. If you're really, really pissed off with them, just green them up. I'd love you anyway. And as if by magic, that person just treats you completely differently. It's like, oh my gosh, you're not horrible after all. Oh, all right, then I forgive you. And of course, it's all about protection and reflection and all that kind of thing, right? So, you know, so really, really useful tools, that is. So 2 really useful ones. So drink, walk by the bed, drink in the morning, charge it up. You can give yourself anything you like, or you can even give it to someone else. Oh God, they're being really annoying. Have some water. You know, and you're not doing anything bad, you're just giving them positivity. And obviously, you know, golden light is a key with water because that's the colour of our sunlight. So if you want to charge water up, see it as golden, and that's the best way you can get the most energy into water with gold. And one last quick thing, interestingly, was this water was made on the Venus transit, the Venus Love Experience in June. And we gathered the essence of Venus as it passed the sun. And so it's taught me the fact that actually we're entering an age where we're going to learn how to we're going to learn how to engorge each other with energy. We're going to learn how to charge each other up in a completely new way. You know, that we think this is a party, right? We're going to a time and place where we're going to have such incredible experiences. It's going to be like dancing orgasm. It's like, oh my God, you know, and it's like we're kids, you know, just starting to learn how to do it. So I'm going to pass on to the next person who's waiting to have a go. Anybody that wants to make a wish and have a drop of this, just come and see me. I'll be over there. Oh, first in the queue. Yeah, so thanks for listening. I mean, you know, I'm really into it. There's the whole squirrely thing in the earth heart which puts light into water and heals everybody that drinks our chai and all that kind of stuff. And we've all got our hobbies, and this is mine. So I hope you've enjoyed the chat. And if you bring me a bottle of water, you can also become a water carrier because I can put a drop of this in it. And as long as you keep the bottle wet, it will last forever. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sandberg, and thank you to both our previous speakers. Thank you to Bruce as well. Thank you for providing the space for the World Shift Creative Forum here at Waveform Festival, the wonderful Waveform Festival. Thank you.
Debt Free TV, in association with GetOutOfDebtFree.org.